going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
This effort, and China has big plans for this. They intend to seed their digital yuan into the global environment by giving it away to visitors at next winter's Olympics. When they arrive at the airport, they're going to get yuan digital wallets. They're going to receive digital yuan. They're going to use it throughout their visits to Beijing, and then they're going to take it back to their home countries. They see this as a huge advantage. Why? Because who controls the underlying protocols, who controls the underlying standards of the future of money will control the future of money.
We need to decentralize. We need to break it apart. It's one of the reasons why I am so bullish on crypto, on Bitcoin, because it is decentralized and not controllable. And let me give a fantastic example. So Justin Trudeau said, I don't like me some truckers, so we're going to seize your assets. So then the court went to try to seize the crypto that was being given to the truckers. And I don't know how many of y'all saw a letter that I actually want to read from. It's a letter from a company, Bitcoin company called Nunchuck. Here's part of the letter. Dear Ontario Superior Court of Justice, our software is free. We do not collect any user identification information beyond email addresses. We also do not hold any keys. Therefore, we cannot freeze our users' accounts. We cannot prevent them from being moved. We do not have the knowledge of, quote, the existence, nature, value, and location of our users' assets. This is by design. Please look up how self-custody and private keys work. When the Canadian dollar becomes worthless, we will be here to serve you too.
Welcome to the Cryptoteacher. And guys, I come back with that video just to make you think. And we have Ted Cruz getting in on Bitcoin and how it's unstoppable. The government can't stop it. So guys, that's the reason why we have to make sure we're paying attention to what Biden does with his executive order, because we may get some bad news. We know how the Hegelian dialectic works. And guys, when it comes to cryptos, I know finances is very boring, but everything is math, guys. And math is fact. I don't care what type of manipulation the Fed does, you always can see it if you're paying attention to the actual indicators. And we saw the stablecoin volume go crazy. We saw them increase the repo by $100 billion, and all of a sudden we received that pump. And finally, we have someone come out and talk about that, Jim Grant, about the repo. And nobody wants to talk about this repo. When I first started, it was like about 50 million, and it's went all the way up to close to $2 trillion, guys, and it's like no one can see it. And guys, we know the only tool the Fed has to control inflation is to raise rates. And guys, we know this. That's the reason why I told you we had to have a distraction, because that is the only way they can raise rates. And they're going to play this narrative of Russia and China all the way until they ride us on down. Yes, we're going to have pumps and dumps. That's part of the market. But this is a planned demolition of the global economy in order to bring up this fourth industrial revolution and automation. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. Now, I'm also going to leave 2 videos of Biden and Biden's son talking about Ukraine. And I have a feeling this is going to be brought up during the midterms, because we know when it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
What is the Fed going to do about inflation? The reality is that there isn't much they can do other than raise interest rates. And it's not clear that raising interest rates will do very much about the inflation problem we have. Fed officials have, for the past couple of years, said, don't worry about inflation. We have tools in our toolkit to deal with inflation. And I keep scratching my head and said, tools? The only tool they have is to raise interest rates to the level that causes a recession, just the way Volcker had to deal with inflation by creating a credit crunch that caused the recession that brought inflation down. So I think the Fed is not going to go that route. I think they're going to be very gradual. I think if they're lucky, and they're counting on some luck here, that inflation will moderate. They're not using the word transitory anymore, but I think that's their hope, is that some of the inflation will moderate. And I think it could on consumer durables, but rent inflation is going to go.
Today, the Fed is undertaking a so-called reverse repo operation to sop up excess liquidity on Wall Street. A 1.6 trillion of idle dollar bills seeking employment at 5 basis points per annum. That's another measure of how loosey-goosey things are. This is the most extraordinary juncture in monetary policy that I've seen, read about, or written about. And that goes back, 200 years in my case.
Knowledge about natural gas or Ukraine itself, though?
No, but I think that I had as much knowledge as anybody else who was on the board.
If your last name wasn't Biden, do you think you would have been asked to be on the board of Burisma?
I don't know. Probably not.
I look, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid at the time.
Well, it just so happens that the general prosecutor was investigating an energy firm in which Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, was heavily invested.
Most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Drama Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.